All right, very good. I will call the meeting to order at 7:41.
We made it.
Hi, Barb.
Hi.
The old people made it. The old people Zoom.
Cool.
The first order of business tonight will be approving the minutes from August 28th, 2023. If someone would like to make a motion. I second the motion to approve the minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Minutes passed for August. Next, we can acknowledge our guests. We have Bill, Barbara, and Roger. So thank you guys as always for your continued dedication to the Environmental Commission. You guys, the routine. If there's anything specific you'd like to bring up, you can do that. If it's on the agenda, you guys can jump in at any time.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I wanted to bring up the fact that I asked about the Green Acres grant that they could have gotten from Malaga Lake Park. And they said they didn't have any money for it. And I had to tell them that we have an open space fund and that there's hundreds of thousands of dollars in it. And it's not just for farmland preservation.
Yeah, I watched the recording of the township committee meeting, and I saw that you brought that up. And I talked to Mr. Henry. I went and picked up the plans that we're reviewing. I had the opportunity to chat with him, and one of the things that I brought up was about opportunities that we might have to fund the replacement of the playground equipment at the and at your request, Barb, we did get the fund. I think there's about $650 in there at the I think he said there may be open farmland that they're working on.
There are 6 applications that are going to close. 4 of them this year and 2 in the new year. But they only use 20% of the value of the farm. So if you add it all up, it's not going to use up the whole thing by any means.
Okay. Well, and also, I don't think that includes the $200,000. I believe that we have to put forth for the Piney Hollow Reservation grant.
That's true.
He said he's looking at if we have enough money in there to do money in there to playground equipment. If that doesn't work out, we could possibly use some of the proceeds from the land sale to address this. A lot of people in the community have been bringing up the fact that playground equipment is outdated and in terrible shape and borderline dangerous. Yeah. So he said he didn't commit to using money from any one spot. He seems like he's really working on it, and he said he's trying to get something in front of township committee to get them to vote on resolution. I don't know if it'll be another resolution, but it's something that he is. And Barbara, I think with your questions about open space and just pointing out that's an open space fund for that.
But because what you were asking about was the grant application for Malaga Lake Park, right?
Yes.
It was an application to where?
Well, it was an application for the Green Acres that we had offered them help with, and you gave the plan and the survey. And when I asked why they're not doing it, their excuse was no money. And it was really sad to realize that they didn't even know there was an open space fund for this, and that there is money to do it, and it won't be that expensive.
So you're talking about a grant application to Green Acres.
Yes.
That most recently. So that didn't go in then. So there was
They blew it off. They blew it the hell off because they didn't realize they even had a funding, and Green Acres requires funding come from the open space fund. You can't get their money without having an open space fund to put your money that you're going to put forth. So it's kind of scary that the people at town hall don't want our help, but they constantly need my help.
Okay.
I'm trying to get a better.
Now, if they had institutional knowledge at town hall, they wouldn't need me.
Well, it's on their radar now.
Yeah.
So-
Well, the other thing is they're going to do these other two sites. If you saw the video, they're going to apply for grants to do hazardous waste cleanups. And one property we don't even own. And the other property, they shouldn't sell it because of a lawsuit that I mentioned. You know, if you watch that meeting, we've already had a problem with that area, with selling properties over there by the landfill in 55.
So did they spell out the sites at the meeting?
Yes,
Okay.
they're on the agenda. One is the gas station next to the paintball. We don't even own it, but we're going to use our resources and our money to do what sounded like a phase one.
And what money were they planning to use?
They're getting a grant, but they're going to still have to spend $1,500, and they're going to have to spend time applying for a grant. That's all they admitted to being spending on it was $1,500, but the wording sounds as if we're doing a hazardous waste cleanup. So I don't know what the truth is. And the other sites are multiple sites on Triumph and Carmen, where the old landfill in 55 is.
Yeah, I didn't.
If they would have come to the Environmental Commission, they could have learned a lot of stuff before they committed to spending money.
Yeah, I believe one of the Environmental Commission's responsibilities for hazardous waste. Is it not?
It's not by law, but we did compile a great effort on the part of Pete and Deborah Petrovich that they went up to DEP, they went through boxes of files, and they compiled a contaminated sites list with the detail of it, which there is a contaminated site list that DEP carries anyway, but they investigated and got a lot more information about each site. So
right. So we are authorized. The commission may create a contaminated site subcommittee or any other subcommittee for any purpose consistent with the powers and purposes.
which we actually did for that project.
The commission and its subcommittees do not have legal authority to declare a site contaminated. So we can create a subcommittee for these purposes of the
Right. And we basically did. Deborah and Pete did most of the work. And we did have a very elaborate, well-detailed contaminated sites list, and it went up on the website, but it's not there anymore. We can pull it, but it should be updated. EEP is a little difficult with contaminated sites. It seems to be very difficult to get in and GEMS is the program that you use, and it seems to be difficult either to get into it or to get current information. So some of those sites might have been remediated and should come off, and there may be others that should be added, but I don't know for sure, and I haven't looked into it. I can find the information, I think.
Okay. Yeah, that would be useful to have.
Whoa.
Okay.
I mean, if I don't know for sure that I copied it into my laptop or but maybe I'll look.
All right. Well, I'm with the agenda. We don't have any reports from emergency management or anything new about hazard waste studies on the agenda to review tonight. This brings us to zoning and planning board applications. One planning board application and one zoning board. We will start with the planning board application, which is PB 2311.
Could you speak into Suzanne's computer? Nobody can hear you.
Sure.
I cannot hear you.
Oh,
Okay. Well, thanks for letting me know. I'll make more of an effort to.
That's great. That's great.
Okay. So we're going to start with planning board application PB 2311. The applicant's name is Vargo. This is located at tax block 2103, lot 43. And the site, I believe, hold on. 2205 Delphi Drive. Nope, that's the engineer's address. Sorry. I'm just trying to see exactly what the address of the site is. Oh yeah, 2771 Delphi. So they're proposing to add a 5-foot wide addition to a portion of the first floor of an existing building. Total square footage increase will be 173 feet. No increase in impervious surface, no change to lighting, draining, or circulation. No existing bulk or area conditions are exacerbated by this application per the applicant. And the only thing that they need a variance for is existing non-conforming. There's a couple conditions. Minimal lot area. They're about 1/5 of an acre short for minimal lot area. They're 30 feet short on minimum lot frontage. And minimum parking side setback is about 7 feet short. So there's 3 existing non-conforming conditions that they need approvals for.
Is this for that 273 foot or square foot?
173.
173?
Yeah.
Okay. And it's going to be a paved floor of a building.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's an increase in impermeable.
Well, what they have there is, it seems like they already have like a concrete pad. Well, there's like a concrete patio and pavement that looks like it might be a sidewalk or part of their parking lot. So these areas are already either paved or have concrete on them. So it won't be an increase in impervious surface because that surface is already impervious.
Yes. They keep it's very nice, well-kept place. So I don't know. I didn't take a look at their neighbors, and I don't know about the increase of adding more impermeable. I don't know how their neighbors feel about it. But
Well, looking at the plan, it's really minimal. Really, the only thing that they need approvals for is the existing nonconformity.
What was the third thing? The frontage was, what did you say, 30 feet short?
Yeah, it was lot area, frontage, and side parking, side yard setback.
Oh,
don't those all have to do with, possibly poor drainage area? Like more of a chance of some flooding with all the.
These conditions already exist, and they're not making those conditions any worse with this development. So those conditions will stay the same. So
Okay.
this development shouldn't have any impact at all on those conditions
Okay.
as they exist already. So here's the plan. I don't know, Evan, if you had a chance to see this. I know Jason looked at it. I mean, they show it's an L-shaped addition here. It's just 5 feet there. So it's 15 feet by 5 feet on one side of the L and 22 feet by 5 feet on the other side of the L, which totals 173 square feet. And like we said, there's no increase in impervious surface. It doesn't affect the drainage or lighting or, as far as I can tell, any environmental factors. And I can't see any way that this would have any effect on the environment.
Okay.
It's a pretty low impact development here.
Well, it's small.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be a lot of work just for adding 5 feet onto their existing building.
Yeah, I thought that was great.
Yeah.
but they're in front of the because instead of the buildup, because of the addition.
Right.
Correct. They're not just going in for a variance.
Right. So I would recommend that we make no comment on this application.
Right. I agree too. Yeah.
Now, the other application that we have to review tonight, it's incomplete. We can't do a thorough evaluation of this, and the zoning officer told me that this is an incomplete application. It does have an engineer's report, but the applicant didn't provide a site plan. The only site plan they provided is an overhead aerial picture that you can't make anything out. This is what they submitted for their site plan. That's their site plan. So we can't do a thorough evaluation of this, but we will be meeting again before this application is heard. So we will get an opportunity to evaluate this application with all of the necessary materials to do a thorough evaluation.
What's the number on it?
This is ZB 2308.
Thank you.
Name is Tresca, TRESSKA.
This is a towing company, right?
Yep,
This is the what?
towing.
Towing company.
It's block 2201, lots 23 and 25.
And 24 is in between with nothing on it. It's just, it's kind of weird.
I didn't look at that, so I didn't even realize that.
Well, Evan took me on a ride on Google.
It looks like There is 23 hectares of septic on, and then one more, I guess it's a parking lot or something. Because right next to that is like a tattoo place.
So property is 3 lots.
Yeah.
But I guess they're only proposing improvements on 2 of the 3 lots.
Yeah, it's strange. It's not small.
Yeah.
What are they gonna do?
Well, we'll have to wait and see, I guess. I mean, maybe nothing. So I included, like, we could do a preview of this. I can read some of the comments that the engineer had. By the way, this is, I'll give you the block and lot. It's located at 3292 Delsey Drive. The subject property consists of approximately 21,000 square feet located on Delsey Drive. This parcel contains an existing 1-story building, parking area, and a fenced auto storage area. The applicant requests a use variance to allow the property to be used for storage of towed vehicles within the currently existing fenced area and associated activities. This parcel is located in residential agricultural zone. So their proposed use is not a permitted use in the RA zone. So they.
Where is this?
So this is the exact address is 3290 Delsey Drive. It's near Little Mill, right near where there's like a video production place. I think it's
Okay. Let me make a statement about this for a second. Is it the place that was the tattoo shop and barber parlor?
Yeah, it's in between the tattoo and the barber. Yeah.
Okay, this is the second time they've made this mistake. It is not an RA zone. Under the last master plan revision, it was changed to highway commercial. And the poor guy, the tattoo guy, was made to have a zoning board hearing because they made a mistake. And I didn't have the heart to tell him that he just wasted all this money and time and lawyer when he didn't need it.
Yeah, that's when they changed that little section, that stretch, the highway.
So, again, town hall has no institutional knowledge, and they need to be told that this zone was changed, and it is not RA, and the engineer is wrong,
So
and the zoning officer is wrong.
yeah, so in that case, this should be going to the planning board solely for a site plan review. If it's an authorized use in a highway commercial zone, which I can't say one way or the other, but I think it would be more likely that it's an authorized use of highway.
It's not. It's not.
And they would need to go to the zoning board anyway.
Yes, but they need the correct information. The guy with the tattoo shop didn't need the paperwork. That's permitted, but a tow yard is not.
So this, what I read is from the engineers, Schaefer, Nasser, and Shadig. So it's our engineers that made that mistake. Because I'm reading off of the engineer's review.
Well, it's probably started with the zoning office.
So I'll go over some of the technical comments made by the engineer. A current survey, the parcel is required to identify existing improvements. The applicant shall identify any improvements that have been completed without previous approval. I've noticed over the last year or so, there have been several improvements made to this property. And there's several vehicles stored there. So it wasn't a storage yard before, but they erected a fence, they put down stone and gravel, and now they're storing towed vehicles at this location. And they never received any approvals or applied for any for this. Based upon our initial review, it appears that substantial improvements have been made to the properties. Items such as enlarged driveway, expanded parking area, constructed vehicle storage area, 6-foot high chain link fence with barbed wire, etc., may have been recently constructed. Preliminarily, it appears that an application for site plan is also warranted. Items of concern such as security, noise, light, and odor mitigation shall be addressed by the applicant. A review of proposed on-site development will be completed at the time of site plan submission. So there's really not much more that we can discuss on this application with the limited information that we have. But I figured I would make everyone aware of the information that we do have, and you know, we'll get this application back when it's more complete. We'll get this application back when it's more complete.
It seems really funny that this guy did the same thing that Jerry Truster did, and Jerry Truster was allowed to do it and is now allowed to put an addition on his building, and he's a non-conforming use in his zone. And this guy sounds like he got busted by zoning for the same thing, but apparently he's not connected.
Yeah, I was surprised to see that this is J&J Auto. I mean, it looks like a large addition going on there, and we've never reviewed any application. There was never a site plan submitted for that. There was never any approvals applied to that, and the applicant never applied for any of it. So it's not here. They don't have to.
It's this doing this when I'm.
I wonder if it's this cord.
Well, it's who you know and who you are. Because the town was made aware when Truster did it, and they refused to enforce. And the town is aware now, and they gave him a permit, from what I understand, from what Cindy has told me. But yet, I don't think he has any of his required pre-approvals to get that permit. So there's no adherence to land use law. This guy needs hearings for both his changes, but yet this other guy is being forced to do the right thing.
So we will
Exactly.
observe any comments for when we're able to make a thorough evaluation of this application. And that covers the two applications that we have for review. So the next item on the agenda, old business.
Just send it back further just to see.
I'll do it. Just sit there.
Piney Hollow Natural Area and Green Acres Grant. I did to Mr. Finley about this. Asked him where we are in the process, and he told me that the bid packet has been developed and sent to DEP for approval. So the DEP has to approve the bid packet that our engineers came up with, and we are waiting for a response from DEP, making sure that they approve all of the items that we have in the bid packet. And once they get that approval, they will be able to start taking bids from contractors to perform the work.
But we still haven't seen a copy of it, correct?
Correct. And to be honest, I didn't even I forgot to ask him. I sent an email about 6 weeks ago asking to see the bid packet.
Right.
I never got a response, and then when I had it with him, there were several things I was trying to cover, and I didn't remember to ask.
Maybe it's that thing.
So I can ask him. I can bring that up again and ask him to see and send us the bid packet so that we can review it. I don't know if we have any input on it at this point. At this point, it's already sent to DEP for approval.
Is it DEP or GA?
It's GA.
It's GA, within
Okay.
DEP.
So once we get the DEP's determination, I will ask him for a copy of the bid packet so that we have it for our record.
I'm sure you didn't have yours on, do you?
Yeah.
If we want to make any changes to that, then of course it would probably have to be resubmitted to Green Acres or the DEP. So
I don't know if we need to make changes so much as that we need to figure out where they're going to access this alternative trail. And kind of, get out there and see it flagged or something.
well, I believe that was already determined when it was submitted to the Pineland, wasn't it? Didn't we have to say where we show them?
Yeah, it's gonna have to be close.
Wasn't it general?
Well, I don't know how to turn it up, but this isn't mine.
I'll see.
Here,
Sure.
I thought, they didn't, there was some comment about avoiding large trees.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was specifically laid out.
Right.
I just thought it would be a good idea to see what's being proposed
Agreed.
before anybody gets out there and starts removing vegetation.
So to sum it up, we're basically waiting on a approval from DEP and Green Acres. And that's all I have about Piney Hollow. I don't know if Barbara, if you have anything you'd like to add.
Not at this time.
Okay. All right. So that covers my update on Piney Hollow. What I was going to say about Malibu Lake, we already covered, but I'll briefly reiterate that the administrator claimed that they're
That's
working
as loud
on
as my
ways
computer
to
gets.
finance replacing the playground.
Sit down, will you?
Possibly through open space fund, possibly through proceeds from the land sale. He seemed like he was committed to really finding a way to replace that playground equipment. Didn't mention anything about any other improvements to Malaga Lake Park. It was strictly the playground equipment.
I have a question. Is the administrator aware of the bond that was taken out that was supposed to be for improvements to the park that Ed and Lou took out in 2016 or 2017?
I
And
doubt.
half of it was given to that roller hockey rink to resurface that in 2016 and 2017. And the other half was supposed to go to Malaga Lake Park. So they may have lost that money and they should look for it.
Yeah, that wasn't discussed at all.
And was that a bond for like 100,000, right?
It was 150.
Okay.
So there should be $75,000 that should go towards Malaga Lake Park. And nobody at town hall remembers anything. So you got to tell them. Or I'll tell them at the next township committee meeting I go to.
So that half of it was used to resurface what?
The hockey rink.
The roller hockey. You know, the thing that every 7 years they have to throw $100,000 into or $75,000 into, that only a real small group of people can use. But Malaga Lake Park, which everyone of every age can use, they haven't put a dime in it.
Yeah, and the roller hockey needs to be resurfaced again because it's
Yeah.
not used.
It's not used mine, by that.
The way it is at the moment.
Is that at the recreation site?
Yeah, the Pennsylvania.
It's an outdoor rink.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're doing it now.
Oh, are they?
are doing it.
It's the money pit. Yeah, they just got some money to do it, and I think they got a grant this time, but I'm not sure how much the town's going to have to put out. It hasn't even been 10 years.
That's right, 2016.
Yeah, I
Or
wonder
2017, yeah.
how much it costs to resurface that.
They got $75,000 worth of grant, so I don't know if that's half of what we're going to owe, or we're going to owe half of that, or what.
That seems really excessive. Just to
Yeah.
resurface.
It's insane.
Well, the next agenda item, a Clean Communities grant. So Franklin Township received a grant for $55,000 from Clean Communities. I saw this on the Township Committee agenda for August. So I looked into this grant, and it's pretty restrictive of what the money can actually be used for. The money must be used for litter pickup or graffiti abatement, and we don't really have any graffiti issues in this town, so that money has to be used for, well, not just litter pickup, but also education, sponsoring cleanups. One of the requirements of the grant is that the township has to sponsor 2 cleanups per year on public land. So I asked Mr. Finley what his intentions are for this grant, or what township committee's intentions are for this grant, and what their plans were for fulfilling the 2 requirements for cleanup. And Mr. Finley told me that there are groups that do cleanup. Some of the sports groups, the baseball teams and football teams do cleanups. And he said one of the environmental groups in the high school, I think he said a flower club in the high school does cleanup. And he said Deanna at Public Works is in charge of that. And I expressed to him that the Environmental Commission would be interested in participating in some of these cleanups. I think it would be a great way for us to conduct some community outreach. Any groups that are doing cleanups can kind of piggyback onto those events. And if we can get some members to join in the other events, other groups that are sponsoring cleanups, if we could just go and join their cleanup and get our faces out there, and then maybe we can encourage them to participate in our events, in our cleanup. I thought it would be a good outreach tool for the environmental commission, and also help clean up the community while we're doing it.
How much money did they get?
$55,000.
Could any of that money be used to clean up Piney Hollow?
Probably.
Let's
It's a lot
do
of
it. It's going to take a lot probably to clean that mess, right?
Yeah.
Let's
So-
let's take care of that.
And the group cleanups only give them $500 per group per year.
Right.
So there's an awful lot of leftover money that could be used to clean up Piney Hollow.
Well, he said there are Public Works employees that do litter patrol sometimes. So, and sometimes that money is used for replacing people's trash cans. So there are several ways that the township spends this money, and he gave me just a few of those examples. I was more interested in finding a way that the EC can contribute to fulfilling the township's review to the cleanups that are required by Clean Communities, and like I said before, opportunities for community engagement through this grant. And something that this grant money can also be used for is signage and litter violation enforcement. So this is a $55,000 grant from Clean Communities. That's a really good grant to get for our community to get, because it has, tangible impacts, improvements on the environment. And there are several areas that don't get cleaned. Like on Route 40 on the south side of Route 40 on Malaga Lake Park or Malaga Lake. I've walked down that side, and there's tons of litter down there.
Oh,
You would need an army of volunteers to clean all the litter down there.
oh.
Yeah. Luckily,
But
there's
you're sort of going, so you don't see it.
correct. Luckily, there's a lot of vegetation that blocks it from going further on the roadside.
Right.
But it also makes it more.
Get it out there, out of there.
So I'm going to contact Deanna at Public Works and express interest on behalf of the Environmental Commission to be involved in some of these cleanups. And also when we have cleanups, maybe we can use Public Works as a way to help us with our cleanups. I mean, they help already. They help us pick up the trash bags and tires and stuff that we collect. So,
Mhm.
and I think that's all I had to report about the Green Acres grant, the Clean Community. Yeah, I said Clean Acres. Clean Community. And there's one more item that I didn't have on the agenda that I would like to touch on briefly. The state of New Jersey is requiring all municipalities to adopt a tree removal replacement ordinance by the end of this year, basically protecting street trees. So if any street trees are removed within the township, there has to be an ordinance that requires a permit to remove the street tree, and also a program to replace street trees. So if someone applies for a permit to remove a street tree of a certain size, and that permit is approved and they are allowed to remove that street tree, then that
Street
has to be replaced somewhere else. Township committee had this on their agenda in August, and they tabled it. So there's been no action taken on this so far. They still have a couple months before they enforce this. A lot of towns are also adding protections for trees on private property. I don't believe that's a requirement by the state. The state is only requiring protection for street trees, which Franklin Township honestly doesn't have many street trees. I looked up the definition of street tree. Let's see if I can find it. Means a tree planted in the sidewalk or planting strip in public right of way. So basically, between the little strip between the sidewalk and the road is what they consider a street tree. I was hoping there would be like a distance, something within 10 feet of the road, but it doesn't get that specific. Right. Almost none of that. Right.
Does that mean that any place without a sidewalk would not have anything kind of
Possibly. Yeah, it could probably be interpreted that way. Yeah.
I don't know. I cover a couple of Franklinville, maybe parts of Malaga.
Right. And any
Not
tree.
even much of it.
Yeah.
I wonder if you could count on one hand how many trees that'll be.
Mm-hmm. But there's also another aspect of this, regulating which trees can be used for replacement trees. There's a list of invasive trees that are not allowed to be used as replacement trees, which was encouraging to see. So obviously the Environmental Commission wasn't asked to make any comment on this, but if we are so inclined, we can make some kind of comment and make some kind of suggestion to township committee to possibly add trees on private property of significant width. Maybe say obviously there's reasons why they wouldn't want to regulate trees on private property. And as a landowner, I can see why people wouldn't want that. But if there's a tree of significant diameter, that might be worth pursuing protection for, if a tree has more than a 24-inch diameter at breast height. Those kinds of trees are worth putting an effort forth to protect, even though it does put a burden on homeowners and landowners. It's also, taken away from the community when those trees are removed. So those are just my thoughts. Everybody else would echo those sentiments, and if it's worth making a statement to Township Committee on behalf of the Environmental Commission. I don't know if it would be worth it, if it would fall on deaf ears, or even so, if they don't listen at all, is it still worth putting our opinion out there and putting it on the record? That we feel that trees of significant diameter on private property deserve protection also.
Yeah.
Because there are many municipalities that do protect trees on private property and have a similar tree replacement program. So we don't have to decide on this now. I just wanted to bring it up to everybody so we can think about it and discuss it next month.
Are you willing to draft the statement?
Sure. Yeah, I can draft the statement.
Why don't we just go over that at the next meeting?
Okay, I can do that.
Well, I agree with that.
Just for the record, personally, but we haven't understood the regulating anyone's trees on their private property.
Even if it's significant trees of, I mean, this wouldn't be every tree. It would only be exemplary trees of, mature, large trees that would basically just, you can't, I don't think you could deny them a permit to replace you'd have to provide replacement trees. I mean, these are natural resources that belong to the community. It's in the public best interest to preserve these large trees. Just because one developer, a tree that's been growing for years, and one developer thinks they'll make a couple extra bucks by cutting that tree down. I mean, the community suffers at that point.
Why does one developer? It could be you, it could be him, it could be anybody that lives in the country. You want to put people and put a shut off the whole one.
Yeah, well,
I mean, again, I'm just telling you, I'm adamantly opposed to it on the private property.
yeah, and honestly, I think most Franklin residents would also, but that doesn't mean that it's not worth making our feelings known.
Well, yeah, I'm making my, I'll let you know if that's the statement that you're right.
Well, I can print a statement and we can vote on whether or not to send it on. Basically, just recognizing the importance of large mature trees, natural resources that belong to all the residents of this town, or that all the residents benefit from.
In this area, 24 dBH is really big. They're really old trees. In this area, 20 diameter at breast heights.
Oh, okay.
24, you're talking about a tree that size.
Right.
Most of our large 100-year-old trees are, like half, or slightly over half of that, because of the nature of the trees that we have in this area. So you're talking about really old trees.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that I'm opposed to saving what I would call a heritage tree.
Mhm.
However, you remove it, I would love to adjust it. I don't really know if anybody feels the trees everybody's out but hates heritage trees and wants to mow them all down. I mean, people that would remove them, I would think would have a purpose to do so. Again, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think that's purpose. Regulating them on someone's private property, they want to develop something.
Well, a lot of towns have tree ordinances that do try to protect large trees, and they have tree ordinances that they require a permit. That you can get a permit to do something if you can justify it. This is a replacement aspect. We put together a tree ordinance years ago. I still have that on my list. We did a survey of about 14 towns with tree ordinances. It had more to do with protecting trees during construction of large-scale development.
Yeah, I know they're very.
Yeah, and also getting people to not cut down trees over a certain size. And the size was much smaller. Without a permit, they could do it, but they wanted to cut more than 6 trees of a certain size on their property. They needed a permit. And we thought that the PC spent at least a year putting that ordinance together, and we thought we had enough for it. But by the time it was done, the nature of the township committee had changed, and the Democrats were the majority, and they were not very experienced. They got talked into bringing it before a public meeting without proper preparation. And they did, and people came out in droves because they were alerted, including guys who cut trees for a living. And people who thought that it was going to impinge on their rights as homeowners. So it didn't go anywhere at all. It wasn't considered by the township committee. I mean, so we spent a year work. So I vowed I would never work on an ordinance for this town. A plan, yes. An ordinance, no. It's just not worth the effort. And it probably isn't worth the effort to express our opinion. But I don't.
Ambulance building, they cut down beautiful old trees without any warning, and they painted the stumps red. I think those trees should be replaced.
At the ambulance building?
You mean next door, I think. You talking about next door, Mark?
At the
Yeah.
building.
Oh, you mean
Yeah.
next door here?
That was to
Yeah,
parking,
Oh, yeah, right.
which I don't know why they had to cut. The stumps are still there. The trees weren't affecting parking. But it was justified.
how many? 5 or 6, or
Yeah, they were large.
just them? They were
Yeah, it was a
they were
lot.
grand trees.
12
12.
of them, Barbara said.
So let's replace them.
And they cut, if they left the stumps, then how can you park there? I haven't,
The stumps are painted red just to show us tree huggers.
I asked
What they
someone
did.
why, and the answer I got was people parked their cars under it, and branches and stuff were falling on the cars.
so why don't they just
Like
prune?
bird poop.
I guess the acorns might fall on cars too, but there isn't supposed to be parking there in the first place. They expanded their parking area once again without permit.
Right.
Without
Yeah,
drainage, that nearing, they just go ahead and
And clear
make more
cut.
impervious surface and remove more forests without any permits themselves.
That's right. They not only don't enforce it on others, but they don't follow their own
They
rules.
break them.
That's right.
They break the same rules they don't want to enforce, or that they're selectively enforcing against those they don't like.
So that tree ordinance, and the Clean Communities grant, that was on the agenda item for Township Committee in August. And I didn't even realize they were on the agenda until after I watched the video, the recording of the Township Committee meeting. So I think we should make more of a concerted effort to evaluate the Township Committee agenda and see if there's any relevant environmental ordinances or proposed. Keep a close eye on that because, I it would have been nice to have, been counseled on these things ahead of time.
Yeah.
I mean, something like a tree replacement is something that the Environmental Commission could possibly have some insight, especially considering Suzanne already wrote an ordinance for a tree ordinance for the town. So we're a resource that that Township Committee could be using to their benefit. But I think it's going to be up to us to check their agenda, which I'm trying to be more proactive about. I think we all should be.
When you don't, and they're not really up there, that's why they're there. So you can't
Well,
really,
yeah, only 48 hours.
yeah, so you can't really, we can't discuss something here and offer specific suggestions on the topics that they're going to
Yeah,
bring up.
but you should show up on the fly and join me. You're all welcome because
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
there.
Yeah. True.
When it's environmental, I'm at the meeting.
Okay.
I check the agenda.
Yeah, and I can say that there's nothing on the agenda that concerns us for tomorrow night because I think I checked and
Okay, good.
I don't think there's anything that would concern the Environmental Commission on this DC agenda.
We have a land sale.
Coming up.
Yeah, I think that's just finalizing the sales that they made.
I think there's a new lot, lakefront lot.
Really? I'll have to look closely at that.
Oh,
I was a lakefront or the one off the lake.
I saw that and I figured that was just from the previous land sale. I thought they were just finalizing some stuff from the previous land sale.
Two lots of it.
It's two properties with trailer homes on them over at Franklinville Lake.
Okay. Oh yeah, MacArthur Ave.
is that the west side?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So behind the Franklin Building.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, where the oak bunch is.
Wait, we're talking about Franklin Lake, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
There's like a dirt boat launch there, or maybe gravel now.
At the top of the lake,
Along the side. It's
along the side.
kind of behind the roller skating rinks, a little north of that. Mhm. Yep. So anyway, that's all I have on the agenda. So we are, unless anybody has anything else to add, we can entertain a motion for adjournment.
Oh, no mail.
No mail, no correspondence.
Just before we leave, did everybody have any problems with the video or the sound?
Once we got things up and running here, it seems to be working okay. How about on your end?
Nah. Nope,
It's a little- Yeah.
It's still in and out.
Mm-hmm.
It's lousy.
Yeah.
With you too, Barb?
Yeah. When Suzanne's at her house, I'm fine. But when she's
Okay.
at town hall, it's worse.
Well, I just won't come anymore.
Yeah.
Where were you last month, Suzanne?
I think I was in Cape May.
Okay, I had troubles last month. So I've had troubles for the last 2 months so that I can't really follow what's being said.
Wait, I don't know that that's true.
I think you were at your house.
I think I was up here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I just stayed home. I just was lazy.
I moved the computer all around the room. I unhooked it. I did all kinds of things trying to figure out how to improve it. And it's not working.
You're coming in really clear on our
So
end.
it's me. It's I'm quite sure. Huh?
Well, we'll see next month. We'll try. I'll do it from my house, probably, unless I have something else to bring over. I brought over some stuff tonight for if anybody needs an environmental resource inventory or an open space plan. There are extra copies. Do you, Barbara?
I could use an open space plan,
Right.
and I'm not sure if I have the
I think you have the ERI.
other one.
Yeah,
It will-
the environmental resource inventory. I'm sure you have. But the open space plan, I turned out to have a bunch of copies that I didn't realize I had. I mean, it's old, but it's never been updated. And that reminds me that it's actually time to update the environmental resource inventory.
Mm-hmm.
To say nothing of the open space plan. The open space plan is another thing. It's not quite as much under our control.
Well, it might be important for me to have a hard copy of the open space plan.
Yeah, I think that would be useful too. And I'll pull it out of the box right now and get it to you somehow.
Thanks.
The environmental resource inventory is 10 years old. Well, it's what is it, 2012? I can't even remember. It's 11 years old. And you're supposed to update these things at least every 10 years. And there is funding through, I think, through New Jersey. I can't think of it now. It's not going to come to me. That whole program that's trying to get all municipalities to do different resilience things. anyway, they do provide some funding for environmental resource inventories, and we could seek it, but it might not be enough. And then there's a question of who would do it. I mean, if all it is an update, it's possible that it could just be getting new maps and new tables of information and not actually changing the text much. So maybe it could be done more cheaply.
It's typical to like hire an engineer firm to do that stuff.
Not an engineer, but a planner of some type.
Is that how it was done now?
Well, the last time it was done by GPC, and there was money from Anjec that paid for 50% of it. And GRPC discounted another portion of it because Franklinville is in their service area. And then another portion of it was paid for by the township. So it only cost the township $4,500, which is really cheap. And did you take the ERI, the one with the blue cover? Yeah, that's it. So we'll give it back. But so this has got a lot of information. Most of it doesn't have to change.
Right. Maps of like forest cover and stuff like that.
Right. They need to be updated. And this does have a contaminated sites list in it, by the way.
Yeah.
Here's the rare plants and animals that I just copied out.
Okay.
And the list of animals, plants, etc. that Joe put together in the appendices, vernal pools, and somewhere or other, somewhere is the this is the contaminated stuff back here. These are the known contaminated sites at that time. 2009, I guess. That might have been the most recent. So we can look at this in any case, but it also, I stuck historic resources in here because we didn't have historic resources anywhere. We had done, remember, I don't know if you do, but we ran around looking at this list that
We took photos.
Yeah, we took photos. We ran around, we had a list that dated from 86 or something of historic houses, not
And
counting,
building.
yeah, individual ones, not counting the Franklinville and Malaga because they were districts, but individual houses. And we ran around the township. Everybody on the Environmental Commission took a section and ran around. We took photos to see if they were still there, and gave all that information to the historic committee. And I dropped the lists into this so that they'd be printed somewhere. So all I'm saying is it would be nice to update the water quality data. the known contaminated sites, the land use,
John left.
percentages of cover and such. And
Maybe we can
leave the rest alone.
maybe we can make that one of our objectives for next year, one of our goals for next year.
Yeah,
Mhm.
because it costs $20,000 roughly, at least, to do a new one. And I don't see the reason to do a new one if you don't have to. But it costs a planner about as much money to update as it does to start from scratch, in a way, because it's hard to drop things in and make it all conform. So I don't know. Maybe we could do it ourselves, sort of, with a consultant who did the maps and tables,
Or we can
something like that.
It's so hard to know what's going on.
For any kind of funding opportunity.
It's so hard
That
to
money
know
that they had
what's going on.
stopped after it came from the Dodge Fund, and it gave a lot of towns the opportunity to do ERIs, because I did ERIs with the staff that under me. We did them for like 40 different towns,
Wow.
but that money stopped. The Dodge did something different. You know, they don't like to fund anything for more than 10 years, even if it's still needed. And was a really good idea. So we can't get money from them. But we can get it from
Well, they might have some resources of available funds.
May I ask another question? Does anybody have trouble with the screen freezing?
No,
At times.
No, nobody has trouble with screen freeze. All right.
No,
All
I
right.
do.
And one more question. How about the township master plan? Is it getting worked on?
has anybody heard? Have you heard anything?
I haven't heard anything.
The last public comment on that, I think it was from the planning board.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we did.
I can't hear you now.
It's way down low.
Why? Why is it down? Who put it down, you know? Nobody put it down.
Can you hear us now?
Can you hear us, Margaret?
No, I don't.
You just take your thing and move it up the line and then tap on it.
Can you hear us now,
They
Margaret?
are, you think?
Yes. Yes.
So there basically is no update. I remember hearing the planning board chairman mention it in, I guess it was at their August meeting, saying that someone asked a question about that. He basically said there the process hasn't been started yet. He was reminded by someone that, you know, we have to get moving on this, and he put it on his agenda of things to do, but there hasn't been any movement forward.
Yeah, nobody wants to deal with it.
So Suzanne and Barb, would you still want to put your name up there?
Yeah,
Would you want to
we
find
sent,
them?
well, I sent a letter.
I know. Could you copy it and send it again? I mean, they haven't started, so you should be on there.
I don't know that it makes any difference to send another letter if they haven't started the process. But we can, and once we know they're starting, maybe we should do it again. Send it again.
Yeah. They only have a few more months, right? I mean, aren't they supposed to be done this year?
I don't know. I'm not aware of any deadline,
Well,
but I'm not
every
really
10 years, you're
informed.
supposed to do it within 10 years. And when did they do the last one, Barb? Do you remember when they changed that area that the towing company wants to?
I'm not sure.
I
Not
forget
sure.
myself.
It was like 2013.
You think
Yeah.
it was 2013?
And
Yeah.
they did something in 11 and then they did something in 13.
Oh, really? I don't remember 11. I thought it was like 08 or something. Because it was 6 years, and then the state changed it to 10 years.
Yeah, there was two things that I don't know what it was. Maybe they did that little minor change outside of the master plan for examination. I don't remember. For some reason, 2011 and 2013 stick in my
Yeah.
brain.
I remember those dates also. Some kind of re-examination, like an update.
Well, that's what you do.
Okay.
You don't have to do a new master plan. You have to do a re-examination every 10 years. And if it's hopelessly out of or things have changed so dramatically, then you redo the master plan. But
Well,
otherwise you don't.
Saying
Mhm.
they're just going to do updates.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're just going to do
Basically,
a re-examination. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. That's what all you really need to do.
Right. So that can take it.
They still have to go through the same process, but
Right.
it doesn't take the consultant that you hire as long.
Well, it sure would be nice to have environmentalists
We did it and
doing the job.
the planning board over the subcommittee.
But it was a really small change.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying, I don't know what their plan is this time.
Yeah.
There might not be a huge committee like some think that there's a
No, it doesn't have to be a huge committee either, but usually, well, I mean, yeah, and they probably wouldn't appoint us anyway.
Just so lucky to come in.
Yeah, favored people. But it'd be more important to be on an open space committee if there was one being created, which isn't happening.
Mhm.
But we have an open space plan that was adopted. Did
All
you
right.
get a copy of that?
Okay.
Did you take a copy of the open space plan?
There we go.
No, I don't think he did.
Don't you want one?
Just the ER. Oh, Evan
You
has one.
Oh, that's
That's
something.
the handbook.
That's the handbook. Do you want the open space plan too?
Yeah, okay.
And Jason, you know,
I got one.
And if anybody's interested on YouTube, a lot of the seminars that ANJEC does, like stormwater and, effective environmental resources or effective environmental commissions, like strategies and stuff. A lot of those seminars that ANJEC holds are on YouTube. They record those training sessions. So if anybody wants something to watch to, learn how environmental commissions can work more effectively, I suggest you watch some of those videos. I've been reviewing them lately. And a lot of it's stuff that we already do with community engagement and evaluating the applications and stuff. But there's a lot of useful information on the ANJEC YouTube account, if anybody's inclined. So, unless anybody has anything else, I think we're ready for a motion for adjournment.
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
Jason makes the motion.
I'll second.
I second it.
7 seconds. All right, very good. All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
I
All right. We are adjourned at 8:52.